I'm Rachel Romeliotis, a senior editor with O'Reilly Media, and I'm here with Rupa Dachere, and she is the founder of CodeChix. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So, I know this is a big topic, but can you kind of hit on some unique challenges for women in the programming communities today?
Sure. As you said, it's a huge topic, so I'm just going to hit on the top three that I see. Time, resources, and support seem to be the three critical areas that most women have issues with, have trouble with, and so that's what I would say.
Interesting. So are there any, how can we help women deal with those?
So one of the things I'm trying to do with CodeChix is to address the needs of female engineers and female developers in industry, and also fresh graduates coming into industry, because there is a great dearth of support in this particular area. So we have the entire pipeline from everything from kindergarten all the way up through to full-fledged industry professionals for 20, 25, 30 years. And one of the things I believe the statistics say is the biggest dropout rate is actually in industry once women have families, and then they feel like they need to drop out in order to take care of their children or their families. And so I am trying through CodeChix to address that particular huge problem. I don't believe there is any other group that has managed to successfully address that.
Right.
Because I personally have felt it myself, and I see all my colleagues going through that. So I'm trying to address it through refresher classes and workshops and technical talks on a monthly basis, so women who are already under a lot of pressure for their time and resources, and they don't have the means for support, can find somewhere to go to for a limited period of time. They can learn something, and then they have a begin and end time, so they are, they have a concrete bound on their resources. So that's what I'm trying to do, and that's one way to try to help.
Sure. So we've talked about CodeChix a couple times. So can you tell people the story of how it came to be?
So I started CodeChix in 2009. I started it in my living room. It was just me and one other person, and we were looking at each other going, where are the other women? There are no other women. And one of the things that I had a lot of difficulty finding was a group that would address my needs. And my needs were not language specific, not OS specific, not region specific, and not industry specific, because I've worked in many different industries, many languages, over a lot of different places. And I could not find a group that did that. And so I whined a little bit for a few months, and then I was like, well, I should stop whining and actually do something about it. And so that's how CodeChix came about. I went to She's Geeky, which is an unconference, and found some great women, and a couple of them joined, and then slowly over the last 4 years, it's grown into a much bigger entity now.
Right.
We're a nonprofit. We're pending 501c3. We have Silicon Valley, San Francisco, and Seattle chapters, and I'm hoping for a Portland chapter.
Awesome. So what I like is that you're very positive about sort of women in programming. How do you think that women can cultivate that positivity at their workplace?
It's hard. It is hard. There are a lot of barriers. There's a lot of issues to deal with, both societal as well as technical. But if you associate yourself with a programming group, it doesn't have to be a women's programming group.
Sure.
It can be any programming group. And keep your filters up. There are positives and negatives in everything. Okay, so no matter which group you join, you will find people that you will associate with, and you will find people that you just cannot stand. So just, go towards the positive and take whatever you can from that. And that's
very good advice.
Yeah.
Very good advice.
Yeah.
So final question for you. How do you see things changing for women in programming in the next 18 months, 2 years?
18 months.
I know. I just wanted to give you a short term.
That's short.
Yeah.
That's real short.
Yeah.
I think there is a lot more awareness now. It is growing. I am just beginning to see some of the major companies trying to step up a little bit in this area. And so far, for the last 50 years, nobody's done anything. Okay, so it is time for the big companies to step up and say, we are going to take a stand and try to make it a much better place for female engineers who are really competent, really intelligent, really good, to be retained in our industry and do something about it instead of just talking about it.
Right.
So in the next 18 months, I see that growing. As a movement, I would say at least 10 to 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah. This is an industry that's been around for, 60 years?
Yeah.
It is going to be hard to have a mind shift change and, a process shift change, particularly for companies who are not equipped for that. And so it's going to take time, but I do see it happening, and it will be for the positive.
Yeah. Well, I personally want to thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to thank you for joining me here today.
Yeah, thank you.
Great.